I was just cleaning out the attic. It was supposed to be a normal day, until I found an old, dust-covered diary with a cracked leather cover. When I opened it, something didn't make sense. The last entry was dated today. The handwriting was hers, but she's been dead for over 10 years. And now, every word seems written just for me. How is that even possible? My name is Ethan, and what I'm about to tell you will change everything you think you know about life, death, and the thin veil between worlds. This is the story of Caroline's diary, and how it led me to a truth more terrifying than I could have ever imagined. Ethan. It was a Saturday morning in October. My grandmother had passed away 3 months earlier, and I finally worked up the courage to go through her things. The attic was cramped, filled with decades of memories wrapped in dust and cobwebs. Doubt I was moving boxes when I saw it, wedged between 2 old photo albums. A leather diary, its cover cracked with age, tied with a faded ribbon. The name Caroline was embossed on the front in gold letters that had mostly worn away. Caroline. My grandmother had mentioned her before, her younger sister who died in a car accident when they were both in their 20s. That was back in 1985. I'd seen maybe 2 photos of her my entire life. Ethan. I opened the diary, expecting to find entries from decades ago. Instead, my blood ran cold. The last entry was dated today, October 15th, 2024, in handwriting that matched the earlier entries perfectly. Ethan. I sat there, staring at the page, my hands trembling. The entry read, Ethan found me today. I knew he would. I've been waiting so long for someone in the family to discover what really happened, the accident. It wasn't an accident. And now, after all these years, I can finally tell the truth. Ethan, if you're reading this, you're in danger. They know you have the diary now. Ethan. I dropped the diary like it was on fire. How could this be possible? How could someone who died nearly 40 years ago write about me finding her diary today? My rational mind screamed that this was impossible, but the handwriting was consistent throughout the entire diary. The ink looked fresh. Ethan. I forced myself to read from the beginning. The first entry was dated January 1st, 1985. New year, new possibilities. William asked me to marry him yesterday. I said yes, but something feels wrong. He's been acting strange lately, asking about grandmother's inheritance, about the family land. I love him, but lately, I feel like he loves something else more. Ethan. Entry after entry painted a picture of a young woman growing increasingly suspicious of her fiancé. William Harrison. I recognized the name. He'd been a prominent businessman in town, died about 10 years ago. But in 1985, he was Caroline's world until she started noticing things. Ethan. March 15th, 1985. Found William going through grandmother's papers again. He says he's helping me organize them, but I caught him photographing documents with that new camera of his. When I asked why, he got angry. Really angry. I've never seen him like that before. Ethan. April 2nd, 1985. William has been meeting with strange men at the diner. I followed him yesterday and saw him talking to Robert Sterling. Everyone knows he's involved with the construction company that wants to buy up all the land around the lake. The same land grandmother left me. Ethan. The pieces were falling into place. Caroline had inherited valuable lakefront property. In the 1980s, there was a huge development boom in our area. That land would have been worth millions. Ethan. July 20th, 1985. I found the contracts. William forged my signature. He's been planning to sell grandmother's land all along. The wedding was just a way to get legal access to my inheritance. I confronted him tonight. He didn't deny. He said I should have minded my own business. Ethan. July 21st, 1985. I'm scared. William knows that I know. He keeps calling, saying we need to talk, that he can explain everything. But his voice, it's different, cold. I'm staying at Jennifer's house tonight. I don't feel safe at home. Ethan, July 22nd, 1985. This was the entry that made my heart stop. He's outside Jennifer's house. I can see his car. I have to leave. I'm going to drive to the police station, but I'm taking the back roads. If something happens to me, I want everyone to know. William Harrison killed me for the land. The contracts are hidden in Ethan. The entry ended mid-sentence. The next page was blank ... until today's date. Ethan, the entry dated today, continued where July 22nd, 1985 had left off, the old oak tree behind grandmother's house. Ethan, you need to find those contracts, but be careful. The Harrison family still has power in this town. William's son, Deputy Chief Bradley Harrison, is now with the Sheriff's Department. His grandson, Ryan, runs the construction company. They've been watching the family, waiting for someone to find the diary. Ethan, I felt like I was losing my mind. This was impossible. Dead people don't write in diaries. But as I read on, details emerged that no one could have known. Details about conversations I'd had that very morning, about my plans to clean the attic, even about the coffee shop I'd stopped at on my way to grandmother's house. Ethan, against every instinct screaming at me to burn the diary and forget about it, I drove to the old oak tree. My grandmother's house had been empty since her death, and the yard was overgrown. But I found the tree Caroline had mentioned at its base, wrapped in plastic and buried in a rusted metal box with the contracts. William Harrison's forged signature was clear as day. Documents showing the planned sale of Caroline's land for far below market value, and a letter that made everything clear. Ethan, the letter was dated July 22nd, 1985, written in William's handwriting. Robert, the girl found out. She has copies of everything. I'm going to handle this tonight. Make sure the accident looks convincing. The curve on Miller's Road is perfect. Everyone knows it's dangerous in the rain. After she's gone, I'll inherit everything as her fiancé. The land deal can proceed as planned. Ethan, below that, in different handwriting. Done. Car went off the road at 11:47 p.m. No witnesses. Police report filed as accidental death due to weather conditions. R.S. Ethan. Caroline hadn't died in an accident. She'd been murdered. And somehow, from beyond the grave, she was trying to expose the truth. Ethan. I was so absorbed in the evidence that I didn't notice the police car pulling up until I heard the door slam. Deputy Chief Bradley Harrison approached me with a smile. That didn't reach his eyes. Ethan Mitchell? I'm Deputy Chief Harrison. Heard you've been poking around your grandmother's old place. Finding anything interesting? My blood ran cold. How did he know I was here? I clutched the diary tighter, keeping the contracts hidden behind my back. Just cleaning up, Deputy Chief. Nothing special. That's good to hear, he said, his eyes never leaving the diary. You know, your family's been through enough tragedy. Wouldn't want anything ... unfortunate ... to happen to the last Mitchell in town. Ethan. I waited until the deputy chief drove away, then rushed back to my car. But as I drove through town, I noticed I was being followed. A black SUV stayed exactly 3 cars behind me. No matter which turns I took, I pulled into a crowded parking lot and pretended to shop, watching through the store window. The SUV waited. When I came out an hour later, it was still there. Night, I locked every door and window in my apartment. I opened Caroline's diary again, hoping for guidance. There was a new entry. They're watching you now, Ethan, but I've been preparing for this day for nearly 40 years. Tomorrow, go to the public library. Ask for the newspaper archives from July 1985. Look for the article about my accident. Look closely at the photo. You'll see the truth. Ethan. The next morning, I went to the library. The librarian, Mrs. Patterson, was helpful. She'd known my grandmother and remembered Caroline's death. Such a tragedy, she said. So young, such a bright future ahead of her. I found the newspaper article, Local Woman Dies in Rain Related. Accident. The photo showed Caroline's car, wrapped around a tree on Miller's Road. But something was wrong with the image. Asked Mrs. Patterson for a magnifying glass. Under closer inspection, I could see what Caroline wanted me to find. The damage to the car wasn't consistent with hitting a tree. The rear bumper was crushed, as if she'd been rammed from behind. And in the background, barely visible, was the front end of another vehicle. Ethan. That evening, I found another entry in the diary. You see it now, don't you? The Harrison family has been living off blood money for 40 years. They killed me, stole my land, and built their empire on my grave. But Ethan, you have everything you need now. The contracts, the letter, the photo evidence. Tomorrow, take it all to the state police. Don't trust anyone local. But below that, in what looked like different handwriting, was another message. Ethan, this is William. I've been trapped here with Caroline all these years, forced to watch what my family became. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But they're coming for you tonight. Run. Ethan. I didn't wait to find out if the warning was real. I grabbed the diary, the contracts, and the newspaper photo, threw them in a bag, and headed for my car. But as I stepped outside, I saw them. 3 cars positioned at different points around my apartment complex. They weren't trying to hide anymore. I ran back inside and called the state police, telling them I had evidence of a 40-year-old murder and that I was in immediate danger. They said they'd send a unit, but it would take 20 minutes. I didn't have 20 minutes. I grabbed my keys and ran for the back exit. I could hear car doors slamming behind me as I sprinted through the parking lot. Ethan, I made it to the state police station just as the black SUVs caught up with me. But I was safe now, surrounded by officers who weren't on the Harrison family payroll. Detective Rodriguez listened to my story with growing amazement. The evidence was overwhelming. The forged contracts, William's confession letter, the photo. Analysis showing Caroline's car had been rammed from behind Mr. Mitchell. She said, "This is one of the most compelling cold cases I've ever seen. We'll need to exhume Caroline's body, but I believe we have enough evidence to reopen the investigation and arrest the surviving members of the conspiracy." That night, Deputy Chief Bradley Harrison, his son Ryan, and 3 other men were arrested. The construction company's records showed a pattern of suspicious land acquisitions dating back to the 1980s. Ethan. 2 weeks later, Caroline's body was exhumed. The autopsy revealed evidence of blunt force trauma consistent with being rammed by another vehicle. The Harrison family's 40-year secret was finally exposed, but the strangest part was yet to come. That night, I opened Caroline's diary one last time. There was a final entry, dated that very day. "Thank you, Ethan. I can finally rest now. The truth is out, and justice has been served. I've been waiting so long for someone brave enough to listen to a dead woman's story. You gave me peace. Now I can join grandmother on the other side. P.S. Check the foundation of grandmother's house. There's something there that belongs to you now." Under the house, I found a metal box containing Caroline's real will, the one William had hidden. She'd left her entire estate to the last honest Mitchell. That was me got the land William had. Tried to steal was now worth $12 million. Ethan, I still have Caroline's diary. Sometimes I flip through it, but there are no new entries. Whatever force allowed her to communicate with me from beyond the grave has gone silent. She found her peace, and I found my purpose. I used part of Caroline's inheritance to establish a foundation for investigating cold cases involving missing persons and suspicious deaths. We've already helped solve 6 cases that police had given. Up on dot, sometimes justice takes 40 years. Sometimes it takes a voice from beyond the grave. And sometimes it takes someone willing to believe in the impossible. The diary sits on my mantle now, closed forever. But I'll never forget the woman who refused to let murder go unpunished, even in death. Caroline's final gift wasn't just the money or the property. It was proof that love transcends death, that justice finds a way, and that some stories are too important to stay buried. Her diary ended with today's date, but her legacy ... That's just beginning. Based on events that the narrator claims actually happened, the Harrison family declined to comment for this story. What would you do if you found a diary from someone who died decades ago, with your name in the latest entry? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more true mystery stories that will keep you awake at night.